but any of you, if you want to speak something relevant, you can always unmute yourself and then speak, right? And uh, also use the chat box if you want to type a message without really disrupting the flow at that point of time. But the reason I asked you all to have your books, and the reason I said we'll try to make this like an interactive, between 1 and 1.5 hours, I want to kind of make this a little bit of question and answer session. So you've been covered a lot of topics. You've covered from anatomy to nutrition to psychology to a lot of topics. And I have a set of questions out over here that I want you to try and answer. So, um, so here's what I want you all to kind of look at it. I'm going to, I need a quick check. I know you can see my screen that says session starts at 4. I want to know if you are able to see the next screen now. Just type saying yes. Just type saying yes in the chat if you are able to see the next screen, which is a set of images. Okay, so the screen change is happening, right? So this is a quick, thanks a lot. So this is a quick check. Now I'm going to have questions pop up immediately, and I just want you to explore and come back with answers. Unmute yourself and just answer the questions if you can, right? And if you are not able to unmute, you can also type on the chat. So work together with each other. This is something we will learn over Zoom as we go by. So just work it out together and see. So here's the first. I'm not going to give you, there are no theory, no details. I'm going to ask you a question and something that's the most simplest one. And I want you to kind of reply. Unmute or type in the chat. Your call, everyone. So here's the first question. So I want you to tell me what are the primary muscles or the primary muscle groups, right, for this particular, exercise or this particular action. What do you think are the primary muscle groups? So first one, leg extension at the knee. What's the primary muscle group for leg extension at the knee? Anyone? Type or unmute. As participative as you are, we'll make this interactive. If not, I will just be giving you question, answer, question, answer. So first one, what is leg extension at the knee? What's the primary muscle? Okay, couple of more. Reply. Come on, reply or talk. Reply or talk.
Hamstring.
Hamstrings is what you say. Okay. Okay. Adduction of shoulder. Now let's, okay, calf muscle, somebody says. Okay, that's an interesting set. Let's look at all the 4. Adduction of shoulder. Let's look at the next one. Adduction of shoulder. Adduction of shoulder. You can speak up, guys, if you can. Please put your videos off because it takes up bandwidth, but you can speak up. Shoulder adduction.
Deltoids.
Deltoids. Okay, awesome. Lateral flexion of the trunk. Core. Lateral flexion of the core. Come on. Akash sir is saying, guys, come on. You know the answers. Come on, speak. External oblique says, okay. Mimaj, you need to type to everyone, not just to me, or only I will get the messages. Okay. Obliques. Sit muscles for shoulders. Okay. Adduction of shoulders, sit muscles. Flexion of elbow. This should be easy. Flexion of elbow.
Biceps.
Biceps. Okay. So, Akash sir, you want to take up the answers?
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Leg extension at the knee. Akash sir, just go forward.
Okay, guys, leg extension for the knee. A lot of people has written down quadricep. I was expecting vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, intermedius, and quadratus femoris. Quadricep femoris. Right,
Okay.
that was the answer I was expecting from you. Specify all the 3 muscles. You guys are becoming certified trainers now, so I want you I expect all the 4 name of the muscles. Now the next question is adduction of the shoulder. One more chance I want to give it to you, that adduction of the shoulders. What muscle would you think? It's not abduction. The hand is not gonna come up. It will gonna go down. The hand will not gonna go away from the midline of the body. It will come towards the midline of the body. Now the answer is, anybody? Anyone?
Lats.
Who's this? Chavi?
Now I'm a little worried if my answer will match.
Who is this? Who is saying lats? Okay. See, the adduction of the shoulder. There are like two muscles which leads to the adduction of the shoulder as well as internal rotation of the shoulder. Is your latissimus dorsi, and I always said that whenever you name the latissimus dorsi, you need to involve the little lats, which is the little lat muscles.
Teres major.
Teres major.
Yes,
Yeah,
teres
lats
major,
teres
and one more
major.
muscle, one more muscle from the anterior surface of your thoracic region, which is your pectoralis major. So pectoralis major, latissimus dorsi, and teres major are the adductors of the shoulder.
Sure, sir.
And now,
Thank you.
yeah,
Akash, sir, when you are
coracovacilis.
speaking, you can put your video on if you would like to. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Lateral
My video is
flexion.
on, ma'am.
Oh, okay, sure. Thank
My
you.
video is on.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Please go ahead, sir.
I think yes, my video is on. Yeah. Now the next one is lateral flexion of the trunk. Yeah, lateral flexion of the trunk is your number one. I want to recall something about your erector spinae. There is a muscle which is called iliocostalis, because I told you that because that muscle is on the coastal region, like close to the lat. That's why that contraction of that muscle also leads to the lateral your lateral flexion. So external internal obliques, and yeah, erector spinae. Erector spinae. I mentioned the muscle. Why erector spinae? The iliocostalis. It's specifically that muscle.
Okay.
Flexion of the elbow, biceps.
Yeah. So that
Next
was the
question,
most common answer. So thanks everyone. That's
Yeah.
a good start off for a quick little practice. So I want to take this session forward this way. So be fast, be quick, and we will cover as many questions as possible that we can. Does this feel good, everyone? A quick chat or a quick unmute and say yes. Does this feel good? What we just did just now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, this is absolutely good, ma'am.
Okay, so here's the next set of questions, right? Here's the question, okay? One of my favorites, and we had Murli sir take this for us, and he always loved this question. Blood vessels carrying blood-rich oxygen from the lungs to the heart. What is it?
That's my favorite one, ma'am.
A, B, C, D. Yeah, who is this, sir? Akash sir or Vaibhav sir?
Akash. This is Akash.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
So
my favorite one.
Yeah, A or B or C or D. What do you think? Coronary artery, pulmonary artery. Blood-rich oxygen, blood rich in oxygen, oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart. Which one? You can unmute and speak. One.
Pulmonary artery.
Pulmonary artery. Okay. Other answers? Somebody said coronary artery. Okay. Yeah. What else? I'll read out the chat messages, but you can speak. Who else?
What is the option, sir?
Someone
Option A,
actually gave the correct answer.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. So we say artery because we look at arteries carries blood-rich oxygen. But remember, the pulmonary artery and the pulmonary vein are the only ones that are on the reversible side. So oxygen from the lungs to the heart, which is rich in blood, is by the pulmonary vein, and the other blood is the pulmonary artery. The one that takes the blood to be purified is the pulmonary artery. So this is the only one where artery does not carry a blood, oxygen rich blood. So please remember this, especially when you're writing A's, right? Okay, here's the next question. Yeah, and I'll ask Vaibhav sir to pick up the answer too. Which organ is primarily responsible for the digestion and absorption of minerals? Stomach, pancreas, small intestine, large intestine. What do you think?
Stomach.
Stomach, okay. Others? So move on to the second question and answer. Pancreas? What is pancreas responsible for primarily? Whoever answered. What's pancreas responsible for? Pancreas. What's the disease that we all get when the pancreas does not function properly?
Diabetes.
Yeah, so what is the job for pancreas?
Insulin production.
Fantastic,
Insulin.
thank you. Insulin production. So definitely not digestion and absorption. Vaibhav sir, answer?
Stomach.
Stomach and the small intestine, right sir? Both, right?
Yeah.
Most of the digestion that actually takes on. Okay, so let's try the Now a few questions in my field, right? Psychology. Okay, if you remember quite a few things, I have a string of questions. I want super fast answers to see if you can pick up, rattle out whatever you can. If you are motivated to exercise purely for the joy of exercising, what's that motivation called? Someone? Super fast, you can speak. The type of motivation. Intrinsic motivation, just for the joy of exercising. Okay, let's look at the next question. Sticking to an exercise program design. Sticking to a program design.
Adherence.
Exercise adherence is what sticking to
Correct.
a program design is.
Adherence.
Adherence, yeah. Okay.
Correct answer.
Okay, fantastic. Let's look at the next one. What is the model that talks about a person's readiness to change? Come on. What's the model that talks about a person's readiness to change?
Behavioral change.
Behavioral change, is that the name of a model? Model in health behavior psychology that talks about a person's readiness to change. Come on, guys. The most popular model, we spent a whole class on this. We spent a whole class on this. Come on.
Theoretical.
Yeah, what's the name? Remember, like Akash sir said, we need vastus femoralis, biceps.
We
Okay.
need detailing, ma'am, specificity.
Yeah, so TTM, expand TTM, someone?
Trans-theoretical.
Yeah, trans-theoretical model of change, right? That's the model of change. Okay. So let me move on to the next question. Okay, an individual's belief in one's own. So the answers are coming up on the right side, guys. Okay, in the PPT. I hope you're able to see that. You're not able to see the answers. Okay. Yeah, an individual's belief in one's own capabilities to successfully achieve a task. What's it called? Your belief in how capable you think you are to achieve a task successfully. My belief in my capability to achieve a task successfully. What's it called? Anyone? Okay. Remember the word, it was called self-efficacy. This is the one for which we saw the Kung Fu Panda video. Remember, your self-efficacy is your belief about how much you are able to achieve a particular task. Okay. What are the 4 types of consequences in the operant conditioning model? 4 types. Somebody tell me what are the 4 consequences that can happen? The names. What are they called? Someone tell at least one. Consequences that follow a behavior.
Rapport stage.
No, that is the stages of client-trainer relationship. You're unable to hear the voice. All of you can hear my voice? You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So rapport stage is one of the 4 stages of client-trainer behavior, right? But what about the 4 consequences of a behavior? What are the 4 consequences? What do you do if a person keeps repeating a behavior? How do you make sure they continue the behavior? Remember, these were the 4 words that we spent a lot of time learning. Someone? बच्चे को homework कराना है तो what do you give them? What's it called? If you want the kid to do homework and you give them ice cream for it, what's it called?
Reward, reinforcement.
Yeah. So the 4 types are positive reinforcement,
Positive reinforcement.
yeah, negative reinforcement, extinction, and punishment. So if you want somebody to continue a positive behavior, you give them a positive reinforcement or a reward. When you take away the reward, it's called extinction, right? And then when you don't punish the person, they do negative reinforcement. Nakre hote hai. And then you punish, it's called punishment, where if you don't listen to me, I'll slap. Guys, when you're not speaking, please mute. Except Vaibhav sir, Akash sir, and Chari sir, you can stay online. Everybody else, do mute when you're not speaking. Okay, so let's move on from this and maybe pick up, So back to probably Akash sir, right? Okay, tell me the 3 planes, guys. Come on, somebody tell me the names of the 3 planes.
Sagittal, transverse.
Frontal plane.
Sagittal, transverse,
And frontal plane.
Frontal plane.
frontal plane, right? Obviously. So superior and inferior, anterior and posterior, right? And then you have the 3 planes, which are sagittal, transverse, as well as the frontal plane. Okay, let's see if you get this clear. Tell me some of the frontal plane movements quickly. Name some of the frontal plane movements. Let's see. Sorry?
Front rises.
Front rises is not a tech. Okay, guys, can you mute? I'll end up muting everybody and you have to unmute. Somebody mute. Somebody whose noise. If you're not speaking, mute.
Yeah.
A lot of noise behind.
Lateral raises.
Lateral raises is also not a technical term, guys. Akash,
Dorsiflexion, plantar flexion.
Lateral raise is not a technical term.
Flexion, dorsiflexion,
Plantar reflection.
plantar flexion,
No.
frontal plane.
She's asking about the frontal plane.
Frontal plane. Okay, flexion comes in what plane? Come on. Do a bicep flexion.
sagittal.
Yeah, flexion is sagittal plane. Frontal plane movements, guys. Come on.
Abduction, adduction movement.
Yes, abduction,
Yes,
adduction.
abduction.
Fantastic. What else? What else? Frontal plane. What is it in the leg? Frontal plane. The leg. What is the movement in the leg? Frontal plane. Inversion, eversion. It's not exertion.
Inversion and eversion.
Yeah. So Shaiksa.
One more variation from the shoulder exercise, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Shaiksa actually.
By which you like to end your shoulder workout. Remember
Yeah.
something?
No. Shoulder exercise. Your shrugs.
Shoulder exercise.
Shrug.
What happens with shrugs? What happens with
Shrugging.
shrugs?
Scapula elevation and depression.
Elevation and depression. Okay, fantastic. So thanks for that a little bit. And here is a set of answers. Akash, sir, you can just speak a little bit. You want to, or we can move on to.
I want to recall these people about the planes of motion.
Okay,
Right.
on the three planes, you want me to go back?
Yeah, a lot of people are saying
Okay.
that,
There you go.
shoulder flexion. Okay, guys. First plane of motion is your sagittal plane, and I already told you that all the flexions and extensions comes in the sagittal plane. So that means flexion and extension, the decreasing the angle between 2 bones is flexion, increasing the angle between 2 bones is extension. There is another extension which goes beyond anatomical position, which is called hyperextension. Right, another flexion extension takes place in your.
Sir,
ankle joint.
I have the question for sagittal plane still coming up.
Please.
No problem. You gave the answer, so that was great. Yeah. My next question actually was sagittal plane movements, but that's so nice of you to actually cover that up, sir. It really helps a lot.
I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No problem.
You can ask about the transverse plane. That is even more. That will make these people really confused.
So Akash will answer this, right? Sagittal plane, guys. Flexion, extension, hyperextension, dorsal. So I just put together this PPT. By the way, I and Akash did not coordinate on this, and we just trying to take it together right now as we can.
Yeah.
So I just put this PPT together. So, and I'm not also a completely technical expert in this. So do pardon me if by chance I make a mistake on the PPT. Akash sir will correct it, right? So dorsal
same here,
flexion and plantar flexion. Okay, transverse place. Come on, 8 different types of movements. If you can start naming them out. Yeah, start. Transverse place.
I just want to say something over here, ma'am.
Sure, sir. Please.
If you want me to ask these people a question, I can do that. Like
Please ask.
these people will try to get.
Please
confused on
ask,
that.
sir. Please feel free. Please
So
ask.
just let them go through the transverse plane first, and then later on.
Sure, no problem. Transverse place. Anyone? Any movements of the transverse plane? Transverse plane is this, right? So what movements happen in this plane?
Ma'am, I gave enough time to these people to understand the transverse plane. So just don't
I
show
know.
them. Just let's see how much these people, they remember.
No problem, sir. I'm trying to do this as a Q&A. Transverse plane.
Bench
Come on.
press. Bench press.
What is that action called? What kind of joint action has been
Yeah, what
taking
is it
place
called? Bench press.
in the Glenn-Hamilton?
Transverse.
No, that is the name of the planes of motion. I want the joint action taking place in the Glenn-Hamilton joint.
Concentric and eccentric.
No,
What
that is
is
a type of
concentric?
contraction.
That is absolutely different. Yeah, yeah. Think about it. Bench press. One of the most popular, 1 RM test that is done. What's the movement called?
Actually, in your book, the bench press movement is been given in the last. Before that, there is like 2 more movements. So, anyways, what is the joint action taking place in the bench press?
Somebody messaged horizontal adduction. Vinod messaged in the chat saying horizontal adduction. Good to hear one word.
Perfect. Right.
Horizontal flexion.
I told you that there is 2 terminology mentioned in your book with the 2 different planes of motion table. That at one place they have mentioned the horizontal flexion, and on another place they have mentioned the horizontal adduction. Horizontal adduction and flexion and horizontal extension and abduction are altogether the same thing.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah, I ended up putting the answers out, sir. That's okay, but you can just speak about it, sir.
Yeah. So I always whenever I come across the horizontal flexion and adduction, I always give the explanation that from the 90-degree abducted arm, the humerus travel towards the midline of the body. It's called horizontal flexion and horizontal adduction as well. So both the things are same thing actually. The terminologies are different that way. Before this, anybody would like to answer the 2 more movements taking place in the transverse plane?
Actually, move the slide on, sir. Is it here on the slide or it's not yet there? You can see my slide, Akash, sir.
Let me. Yes, it's there. It's there. But
Yeah.
these people can look at this slide and they can. This is the answer actually. Pronation and supination.
Actually, one important movement being missed when
Yes,
we
sir.
talk about transverse plane.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is Vaibhav.
Yes, sir. Go
Vaibhav,
ahead.
sir, yeah.
You got that. Yes,
Vaibhav,
sir.
sir.
One very important movement in transverse plane. I think no one is answering, or there is no answer in chat box. The important movement is rotation. Any rotation we do, whether
Exactly.
it is your shoulder external internal rotation, your hip external internal rotation,
Yes.
or your
how-
pronation supination,
Yes, sir.
your cervical rotation, trunk rotation, all the rotation movement
Perfect.
takes place in
Perfect.
transverse plane.
Yes, sir. Vaibhav, sir,
Okay,
you're
so
also able
followed
to
by-
see my slideshow, right?
Yeah, ma'am. I'm
You can
sorry
see.
for
Thank
late,
you.
but
Thank you.
yeah, I can.
No, but you can see my slide, right? I'm just confirming that it is visible.
Absolutely,
for
I
you.
can see slides.
Thank you. Yeah. So thanks for sharing
yes,
that, sir. Yes, sir. Akash,
Okay,
sir.
I
Go
have
ahead.
something to say it over here. Followed by Vaibhav sir, what he the valuable input given by Vaibhav sir. I always give you the tagline, or to remember how to remember the planes of motion. Like all the flexion extensions comes in the saddle plane, and all the rotation exercises, like what Vaibhav sir has clarified right now, is that will be like it will be easier for you to recognize the movement, right? So all the rotation exercises comes in the transverse plane, and rest of the 2 movements which I was talking about was internal and external rotation and your pronation and supination. Pronation and supination is also kind of rotation when your radius comes over the ulna when you pronate, right? So those are the movements, first 2 movements before the horizontal flexion extension. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Any
Thank you,
doubts,
sir.
guys?
Thank you for
My
sharing
pleasure,
that.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to psychology again a little bit. So if you can just open up on psychology a little bit and then see if somebody can quickly talk about it. Okay. So trans-theoretical model of change. What are the five stages? Anyone name any stage that you remember? Trans-theoretical model of change. There are 5 stages. Come on, give me a name. Give me a stage. Any one stage. Super fast.
Cognitive stage.
No. Cognitive stage is what? Somebody tell me where cognitive comes. Cognitive comes as a part of
It's a learning.
Learning. Fantastic. Yes. So somebody replied action stage. Shaiksa replied action stage. Yes, action is one of the 5 stages. It is the 4th stage. What else? Other stages. Someone. Is somebody ready for changing and adhering to exercise? This is what we're talking about.
Maintenance.
Yeah, maintenance is the 5th stage. Someone else. One of the guys. Answer. There's a word that starts with C, little long word. What is it called?
Contemplation.
Yeah, okay. So it is pre-contemplation. The person is not even thinking about exercise. And then it is contemplation, where they are thinking about exercise but haven't started yet. Preparation, where they are exploring here and there, a little bit activities and all. Action, where for 6 months they are doing exercise. And maintenance, where after 6 months they are used to exercise and adherence happens. Okay. Guys, please mute. Students, just mute if you are not speaking, answering a question. The next one. Okay, this I'm going to answer it directly. Self-efficacy. 6 ways to improve your self-efficacy. If you performed exercise well in the past, your self-efficacy is higher. If you have seen people finishing an exercise well, vicarious experiences, your self-efficacy is higher. If your trainer, as a fitness trainer, is able to persuade you and convince you and motivate you, self-efficacy is higher. Your own physiological state, based on injury, based on your BMI, etc., your physiological state increases self-efficacy. Your emotional state, right? Your emotional state, where if you're feeling good, you obviously would like to exercise more. And imaginal experiences, that is, if you're able to visualize yourself exercising well, then you exercise better. So there are 6 ways to increase your self-efficacy. So the next question, let's see if someone can answer this. 3 domains of learning. Very fast.
Cognitive.
Cognitive is one domain. Yes, that was from the previous one. Okay, someone else? Other 2? What's the? Give me one more domain. Area of learning. Domain of learning. So I hope this serves as a revision for you to remember some of the words. We have 3 domains and 3 areas of learning. We have 3 areas and 3 stages of learning. We're talking about the domains, the areas of learning. Cognitive domain, and then anyone else?
Associative.
Action is, okay, no, associative is not a domain. Remember, the 3 domains of learning are cognitive, if it is in the
Affective.
affective, which is in the emotions, and motor, which is the motor skills, right?
Psychomotor.
Yeah, psychomotor. Psycho is the mind, cognitive, affective, and motor. So motor is the motor skills, actually doing the action. Likewise, we have what we call 3 stages of learning. What are the 3 stages? Someone? 3 stages of learning. So initially, when you are, remember, we saw this exercise about the roller skate cycle, right? Single wheel cycle that we saw in the video. Initially, the person makes lots of mistakes. That is in what stage?
That is cognitive.
Okay, from cognitive, you move to what is called associative stage, where you learn a little bit, and then autonomous stage, where you become an expert, right? Shaikta, thanks for replying there. Okay, associative. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Behavior chain, A, B, C, operant conditioning model. What is A, what is B, what is C? Anyone? Remember, we said psychology words are difficult. You're not used to them. Behavior chain. B stands for, obviously. Anyone? B stands for? Everybody's gone silent on psychology.
Behavior.
Yeah, so it is antecedents, behavior, and consequences. Okay, which are the 4 consequences we spoke about. So antecedent, remember we saw this video where we talked about the kids, where my brother pushed me, I pushed him back, and so I got punished. Instead, my brother pushed me, I tell my dad, and then he stops pushing me again. So there's an antecedent that comes before the behavior, which causes the behavior, because of which there are consequences. Okay. 4 stages of client-trainer relationship. Somebody started this off earlier. One of the stages, the first stage. Somebody mentioned it earlier. Please repeat. Guys, are you there? Tell me if you're still able to hear my voice.
Rapport stage.
Yeah, rapport stage. From rapport, once you build rapport, what's the next stage? Somebody comes to you as a client. So first you build rapport, and once there is rapport and comfort, then what do you do? So rapport, then you have investigation. Yes, okay, Sai Teja. Investigation. So I'm keeping track of the chat also, right? No, intrinsic and extrinsic, Shaiksa, are the two types of motivation. Remember, motivation done for the pure joy is intrinsic, and motivation for any other reason is called extrinsic. But the stages for a client-trainer relationship is you build rapport with the person, then you investigate and you find out how the person is and what details are, and then you get into the planning mode and then into the action mode. So these are the 4 stages of a client-trainer relationship. Okay, muscle contractions. Back to Vaibhav sir and Akash sir too on this. So muscle contraction. Somebody tell me what's this called? Your muscles contract by either lengthening or shortening. What type of muscle movement or muscle contraction is this? Quick.
Bicep.
Any muscles, yeah, not just bicep. When a muscle it contracts, it lengthens. The length of the muscle changes when the muscle is contracting. What type of movement is that?
Concentric.
Flexion and extension.
No. So there are 2 which in one the muscle length changes and one in which the muscle length does not change. What are these 2?
Flexion.
What is concentric and eccentric?
Yeah.
Not this, right? What? Okay. What types of movements are concentric and eccentric? They come under some specific type of a movement, right? Am I right, Vaibhav sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, absolutely.
So when a muscle, so there is one type of a movement that says basics, go back to basics. One type of a movement that says when your muscles are, when you're doing bicep curls. And what happens when you're doing plank? When you're doing plank?
Extension and
Nope. Okay.
Flexion and extension.
Nope. What happens when you're doing a plank? There's the muscle
Isometric.
Isometric.
isotonic. Where the length changes is called isotonic, right? And what is isometric?
Length does not change.
The length does not change. So bicep curls is isotonic, right? And as a plank position or your hatha yoga, when you're holding the postures, end up becoming isometric.
Metric.
Now under isotonic, okay, so I'll go to the next 2 questions, Vaibhav sir, and hand over to you for a quick recap. Any contraction where the muscle shortens. Now there are 2 types of movements in isotonic, one where shortening happens and one where lengthening happens. Where the muscle shortens, which means it is working against the gravity. What's that movement called?
Concentric.
Concentric is shorting.
Yeah, and when it
Eccentric is
lengthens,
lengthening. Eccentric.
yeah, when you go moving towards the gravity, it becomes eccentric, right? Okay. And the next set of 4 questions, and then we will move to Akash sir and Vaibhav sir about the muscle contractions a little bit, right? Next 2 slides, and then we'll move. Okay, here are the questions, guys. 4 types of muscles. Muscles can be categorized into 4 types, right? Now let me give you the definition. The muscle that provides the major force to complete the movement, which means when you are doing bicep curls, it's your bicep brachii. When you are doing a squat, this muscle is your quadriceps and your glutes maybe. What is that muscle called? What's that name for the muscle? It starts with an A.
agonist.
Prime movers.
Agonist or prime movers. Yes, they're both, but agonist is the word that you remember, or prime movers. Fantastic. Anybody remembers the other 3 names? You have agonist and then?
Antagonist.
Yeah.
Synergist.
Okay.
And
the muscles that oppose the agonist are called?
Okay.
Muscles that oppose the agonist are called?
Antagonist.
So in your bicep curl, what's the antagonist?
Triceps.
Triceps. Fantastic. So the muscles that assist, right? The muscles
Synergist.
the muscles that support, okay? And then the muscles that stabilize, right? The muscles that
stabilizers.
Or fixators is what some books call it, but that's okay. Fixators or stabilizers, yes? And what is the biggest stabilizer we look for? Your back. Remember, back straight, right? Core straight, okay? Manage your core, right? That always comes up. Okay, so a couple of these points on the muscles, different muscle contractions and muscle flow. Akash sir, Vaibhav sir, any quick inputs on this area, in this context?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
See, we divide muscles based on action, based on function. So based on action, we divide muscles into like isotonic, isometric. So when the muscle is contracted and there is no movement, we call it as isometric. Example is plank. Where all core stabilization exercises are example of isometric, where there is no movement in the back, but still your muscles are contracting. The second type is isotonic. In this, the muscle is contracted at the same time the length is changed, whether the muscle length is shortened or the muscle length is lengthened. When the muscle length is shortened, we call it as concentric. For example, like as ma'am said, bicep curl. In bicep curl, when the flexion is happening, the muscle is shortening. So we call it as concentric action. And when you go towards gravity, or when you call it as like when it is extending, then it is eccentric. So eccentric in layman terms, we call it as negative movement, the negative reps. Now coming to, we divide muscle, we categorize muscle as per the action, as per function, like agonist, antagonist, antagonistic, fixators, or otherwise known as stabilizers, and then we have synergists. For example, if you are doing a bicep curl, the main muscle which is involved for bicep curl is known as agonist. That is bicep. When you are doing it's a bicep. Antagonist, which resists the movement, that is triceps. And the synergist, which helps, that is your forearm muscle, which helps the biceps, is the forearm muscle. And when it comes to stabilizers, all the proximal joint, that is your shoulder, all the muscles, particularly your rotator cuff muscles, are stabilizing your shoulder joint so that you get smooth movement in the elbow joint. And apart from the proximal, then your core, your shoulder stabilizers and the core stabilizers, so that will fix your body so that the movement takes place smoothly at the given joint. So that is the function of stabilizer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So,
Welcome.
So we're about halfway through. Believe it or not, we have spent 45 minutes already in the session. Can you guys believe that it's been 45 minutes? You can answer, that's okay.
No.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask this straight out right. Let's see, and I think Akash sir would love to hear these answers from you guys on this. What are the 4 rotator cuff muscles? Come on.
Oh, wow.
What are the 4 rotator cuff muscles?
Sit muscles.
What are they?
Yeah, I want to see perform of sit muscle.
Supraspinatus,
Supraspinatus.
infraspinatus.
One each. Is that
Okay, I
JP?
take supraspinatus. Yes.
Okay.
Can somebody please tell me the action of supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres mediana, subscapula?
Akash sir is
I know
excited
you
with
guys
the
know
answers.
the name of the muscle, but tell me the action.
Posterior aspect.
Yeah, that is the location of the sit muscle.
Yeah.
Action of this muscle. I think I have shared the screenshot with you guys in the group chat. Like those screenshots were having the specific action of this specific.
So one of the muscle is some 6 degrees or 8 degrees adduction, and I think that is
7.
I
0 to 7.
I or T, some muscle. Yes.
Yeah.
Which muscle is that?
So I think
The first muscle of sit.
Yes.
okay, supraspinatus. Yeah.
Absolutely. Supraspinatus.
No, infraspinatus.
Okay.
Action of infraspinatus.
Anyone answer? Or otherwise Akash sir will quickly recap it for you.
Yeah, the hint for you is as the
Adduction,
name
lateral
is
rotation.
termed.
Listen
Akash
to
sir.
Web sir, please.
Akash sir, somebody.
Yeah,
Web
Web
sir,
sir, you're
somebody is
saying
answering.
Sorry.
Somebody is
Yeah,
answering.
yeah.
Meeting. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, someone answered actually.
Yeah, somebody wanted to answer, please.
Transfer adduction and lateral rotation.
Okay.
It's a lateral rotation. The main important, as the word rotator cuff says, it is the rotation. So rest of the muscles are divided into either internal or external rotation.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So
Sir, anything else to add on the rotator cuff muscle?
Yeah,
hip
I
muscle?
mean, we didn't answer. Subscapularis is for internal rotation. Infraspinatus and
Perfect.
teres minor is external rotation.
Exactly, perfect. And out of these muscles, if we take this muscle in regards to the abduction, adduction, supraspinatus leads to the abduction, and other three muscles leads to the adduction. The deep muscles.
Right.
We can move further, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm back to a couple of quick questions. Now, let's see if you can answer these. Okay. I want you to pick up what is the agonist or what is the antagonist, right? I'm going to ask you the movement and you're going to tell me what I'm asking you. Now, we're going to go just like a rapid fire. Okay. We can go ahead on a rapid fire mode. Let's see. Agonist in chest press. What's the agonist in chest press? Come on. Come on.
Pectoralis major.
Pectoralis major.
Pectoralis major.
Pectoralis major. Okay. So we can do a right, wrong. Sir, you want to go ahead pick that up? Agonist in overhead press. Overhead
Shoulders. I mean, anterior deltoids. Front delts.
press. Okay. So I'll finish this slide and then you will pitch in, sir. Vaibhav sir, Akash sir. Do I finish these?
Yes, sir, please continue. Else, I mean, let them
Okay,
have a.
sure.
Yeah, let them
Okay.
talk. Let them.
Okay, sure.
Give the answer.
Agonist in rowing. When you're doing rowing, agonist in rowing.
Latissimus dorsi.
Latissimus dorsi.
Tell me the full name, please.
Latissimus dorsi.
Latissimus
Latissimus dorsi. Thank you. Okay, remember you have to be able to say
Wait, ma'am.
that.
Just hold on for a moment.
Sure.
See, rowing, agonist for the rowing. Whenever shoulder extension happens, I told you that there is another muscle which shares the same action with the latissimus dorsi.
Teres major.
Exactly, ma'am.
Little lat.
You
Yeah.
remember
Sir, Vaibhav sir, Akash sir must be proud of me of the 3 years back batch.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Agonist in squat, guys. Come on. Now give me the
Quadriceps
four names.
femoris.
Four muscles.
names,
Four
four names,
muscles.
guys.
Come on. Naam bolo. 4 muscles. First muscle, quadriceps. 4 muscles. Names.
Vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, vastus intermedialis, rectus femoris.
Rectus femoris, vastus intermedialis, vastus lateralis, and vastus medialis.
Intermediate.
Right? And also remember, gluteus maximus also
Gluteus
works in the squat.
maximus.
Remember, that's also an agonist for the
Yeah.
squat. Okay?
Yeah. Hip
Okay.
extension.
Fantastic. Yeah. By the way, what are the antagonists for squat? Someone? I don't know if that's there in my list. It's not here, I think. Antagonist in squat?
That's a brilliant question, ma'am.
Someone tell me. It's not there in my list, but it's there in my list, but it's okay.
Gluteus.
No. Gluteus? Which one? Maximus, medius, or minimus?
Minimus.
So gluteus medius and gluteus minimus work where? Remember hip abduction, adduction, right?
Yeah,
Can I say something over here, guys?
Maximus.
Yes, guys.
I have
Yes, sir.
something for these people over here.
Yes, sir.
See, antagonist. If she is asking about, you need to imagine the movement when the quadricep contract, which muscle actually stretch. Whenever the agonist contract, antagonist stretch. So you have two antagonists written in front of your eyes. So just.
So this is the set of 3 muscles. There is a name that starts with S, but the second letter is silent, and there's a major and a minor to it. Anyone? Any guesses?
Exactly. That.
Okay, so we'll come back to it later. It's there in a slide, but these are the hip flexors, guys. Okay, agonists, the antagonists in squats are the hip flexors, right? Okay, but let me just pick up the next question. Let's see, synergist in squat. What's the synergist in squat? What's the supporting
Calf.
muscle?
Core.
Calves.
Arms.
I actually have put down the answer as hamstrings. I don't know. Maybe Akash sir, would you agree?
No.
Want to change? No,
Vaibhav
right?
sir,
Yeah.
just help us over here.
See,
Yeah.
definitely. See, when you do squat, the concentric, you have quadriceps, gluteus, and even hamstrings. The hamstrings work concentrically at the level of hip extension, and it works antagonistic at the level of flexion, knee flexion.
Right.
Perfect.
So hamstrings here has dual role at the hip level and at the knee level. And when we talk about a synergist, I mean, yes, you can call hamstrings also, but apart from that, the other muscles that is distal, dorsiflexors, is also work as synergist.
Okay.
Sir, I have something
And we talk
something to
about
add on here.
Please, sir.
Sir, we have another muscle which is called a paced and group, which is like sartorius, not exactly the sartorius over here, but your gracilis as well as your hamstring muscle, sir. That is what I wanted to say. It's
Okay.
actually it is considered as a prime stabilizers for the knee as well.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. What's a fixator in squat?
Fixatum is stabilizer, right?
Yeah. What's a
Yeah,
stabilizer?
stabilizer.
Popliteal force.
Ma'am, what is the response you have written?
I've written transverse abdominis. Is it erector spinae that I need to write?
No, it's not erector. I mean, yeah, transverse abdominis is right, but I mean, broadly you can put it as a core muscle. It's not just one.
The core.
All
Okay.
the
Yeah.
two core muscle.
Yeah.
And along with that, even the hip stabilizers. Because
Okay.
if the hip, your glute,
Sir, how about
medial.
deep rotator of the hip, sir?
Yeah, that's what. No, I mean the
Yeah.
hip
Peripheral.
stabilizer
Yeah.
and
yeah.
core stabilizers
Exactly.
will act
Yeah,
as
yeah.
stabilizer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And yeah.
So
So
as
always
you guys
remember,
can see, there are so many multiple things that come in, right? The answer is never one, as all of you know. So I've just put down one answer over there, but core muscles start off and then the rest. But if you hear Vaibhav sir and Akash sir speaking, your muscle anatomy can go so deep, right? Because your muscles are all linked together, right, sir?
I have
absolutely.
for the squat. I have one more muscle I can remember over here is your popliteus, because
Popliteus fossa.
I always mention this because whenever the squatting position is maintained, the popliteus contract and it holds the knee joint from getting dislocated. So that is a kind of exactly stabilizing function for the knee. So I always mention this muscle as well.
Okay.
Sir, what is your take on this?
Yeah, I mean it also stabilizes. One of the main function of popliteus is unlocking of knee.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
other function. See, the muscles which are small always helps in stabilizing, and popliteus
Exactly,
is very
sir.
small
Yeah.
muscle,
Yeah.
so it stabilizes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
That stabilizes. That's true.
Thank you. What's the antagonist in chest press? Anyone?
Triceps. Rear delts. Posterior delta. Rear delts.
The anterior, it's not triceps will not be an antagonist, right? Would that be a synergist, sir, for chest press? Triceps?
No. Triceps is agonist.
Maximus dorsi.
Sorry?
Rear delts. I mean, posterior deltoid.
Okay. Akash, sir?
Latissimus dorsi.
That is not.
Listen. Then whenever agonist contract, antagonist stretch. So whenever you're contracting your chest, you need to see which muscles are stretching. There's a group of muscles actually. If you see the exactly opposite muscle which is stretching, and your because of the contraction of your upper and lower trapezius as well as your serratus anterior, the scapula actually upwardly rotated as well as it protracts. So that muscle actually the muscle name is your middle trapezius as well as rhomboid.
Okay. Okay.
Which
Sure.
actually expands whenever chest contracts. The opposite muscle, which is rhomboid major and middle trapezius, actually expands.
Okay. Thanks. So, antagonist in overhead press. So I'm glad you both are here, sir. You're correcting a few things that I might have actually got a little wrong.
Shoulder overhead press, right?
Yeah, shoulder overhead press.
Yeah, I want these guys to try first, and then I'll put my input over.
Now, if you can change the slide.
The slide is here, no?
Yeah. Now it's okay.
Now it's here.
Sure.
Now.
Antagonist in overhead press. Anyone?
Triceps.
No.
No.
Latimus dorsi.
Akash, sir? You can just
Yes.
pick it up.
There's one more muscle.
Posterior deltoid.
It is actually a latissimus dorsi and posterior deltoid, both the muscles.
Okay. Latissimus dorsi and posterior deltoid. Thank you for that. Okay. Antagonist in rowing. Rowing. Antagonist.
Pectoralis major.
Yeah.
Antagonist in squat, we just spoke about it. What are the 3 hip flexors? Anyone? 3 hip flexors. Name. Come on. Hip flexors.
Rectus femoris.
No, rectus
No, that
femoris
is a
comes
secondary
where?
flexor actually.
Yeah.
The 3 muscles which originate from your spine and get inserted into your femur.
Bicep femoris.
No.
Rectus
No,
femoris
right.
is part of your quadriceps, guys. Biceps femoris is part of your hamstrings. The hip flexors are your psoas major, psoas minor, and
Yes.
iliacus, right?
Iliacus, perfect.
Right, perfect. Okay, let's remember that. Iliacus, Shaiksa. Thank you. Yeah. So agonist and bicep curl, straightforward. Come on, super fast. But tell me the full muscle name, please. Agonist
Sorry,
and
ma'am.
bicep curl. Sorry.
Question, ma'am.
Agonist and bicep curl.
Brachialis.
No, triceps.
Triceps.
Bicep curl, yeah. Agonist.
Biceps brachialis.
Biceps brachii, right? Brachialis and brachioradialis are 2 other muscles that are there. But this is bicep brachii is the full name. Okay, remember the full name technically. Okay. What's the antagonist in bicep curl?
Triceps major.
Triceps trachea. Triceps trachea. Sorry, that's a spelling mistake from my side. Trachea, not brachii. Yeah. Triceps trachea. Okay. What's the synergist in bicep curl?
Forearm.
Okay, there are quite a few of them. I'll let Akash pick this up. I know brachioradialis, but I know synergists are more than one. Yeah.
Brachioradialis, we can name brachioradialis when the grip is neutral like this, when I'm doing a hammer curl. If I'm doing it with the supine curls, if I'm using a prawn grip for the bicep curls like elbow flexion, then we can definitely see the brachioradialis. But if my grip is supine, like classic dumbbell curls or maybe classic barbell bicep curls, at that time pronator teres is the muscle.
Okay. So the forearm, like someone mentioned.
Yeah. It's located diagonally on your forearm, and whenever that muscle contracts, it pronates the forearm so that the radius will come over the arm.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I have one question on risk stratification. I'm sure this was covered somewhere in some points. So I'm going to ask you, there is a set of criteria by which we decide whether a person is low risk or moderate risk or high risk, and how many risk factors are there. Vaibhav sir, you must have probably picked this up at some point of time, right? I'm not very sure. Yeah. So I have a question. Health screening. So I have a question, guys, and I want you to take a minute, read through it, and then identify the risk factors. I'm going to read the question out loud. Okay? A 44-year-old man comes to you wanting to exercise. After a thorough health risk appraisal, you learn that his father, you learn that his father had diabetes and his father smoked cigarettes. So this man, Roger, he quit smoking 1 year ago, and he alternates between exercising on the stationary bike and the treadmill 3 days per week for 30 to 45 minutes per session during his lunch break at work. So father had diabetes, father smoked cigarettes, Roger was smoking until 1 year ago, and he exercises for 30 to 45 minutes 3 days a week. His BMI is 31. His systolic blood pressure, is 142 by 88, and his cholesterol is 187. What is the risk classification according to ASCM guidelines, right? Can someone start telling me what are the risk factors?
Heart attack, heart failure.
What do you mean by heart failure? Heart failure of whom?
Cardiac arrest,
Sorry?
Cardiac arrest.
No, so when is the heart a risk factor? Heart attack. Okay, let me clarify this question, guys. It is risk stratification, which means that how do you identify whether this person is a risk factor for cardiac attack or not? Somebody wrote heart attack. Rizwan wrote that. But how do you identify whether this person is a risk factor for heart attack or not? Anyone?
Cholesterol level.
Okay, cholesterol level is a risk factor. Okay, so cardiac history is a risk factor. What else comes on the risk factor? Someone else.
The hypertension, smoking, the lipids are high.
Lipids are high.
BMI.
Hypertension. BMI is a risk factor. Okay. What else? So I'm going to take you to the slide. I leave that slide open for you, and Vaibhav sir, you can share some inputs. Then we'll come back to the question. But please make a note on this slide, right? Vaibhav sir, you'll pick this up, or?
Sorry, ma'am. Yeah, please. Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yeah, please, sir. The slide
See, risk
came up?
factors.
The
Yeah,
slide came up?
I can see. Yeah, risk. Yes.
Thank you.
See, we have different risk factors, which altogether, I mean, could be the reason for any lifestyle disorder, whether it is heart attack, whether it is stroke, whether it is lung disorders or metabolic disease. So the risk factors which are most important is, if you see, the first one is age. So as per, if you see the question what we had, in that his age is 44. So I don't think so the age, I mean, is one of the risk factor, but definitely he had a family history. So you need to add one, that is one risk factor, because he had a family history. And if you have seen the third one, cigarette smoking, a person who is a current smoker or who has quit smoking,
6 months.
I mean, 6 months, 6 months ago. So this guy, he left smoking 1 year ago. So even this doesn't come. So till now, one risk factor. And the sedentary lifestyle, but I mean, he was active. He was doing at least 3 days a week. Obesity, if your BMI is more than 30, then it is a +1 risk factor. So his BMI was 31. So we have 2 risk factor. So coming to the next one is the pre-diabetes, pre-hypertension. Ma'am, you can just move the slide. Yeah.
Which one?
This one. So
you
the hypertension. Yeah. So if your blood pressure, this one is okay. Yeah. If your blood pressure is more than 140/90, then again it's a risk factor. So for Roger, it was 142, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So again, that is +1. Dyslipidemia. So in this, his serum cholesterol was 187. So in this, if you see, his cholesterol was under control. If it is more than 200, then we call it as +1 risk factor. But for him, it was 180 change. So it is not a risk factor for him. And pre-diabetes, if it is your fasting blood glucose is more than 100, again, it's a risk factor. So for him,
it's not there at all. It's not given at all. So
it's not
okay.
given.
It's not
and
given.
So if you can see, he had I mean, a family history. He had obesity. He had hypertension.
So family history also is only cardiac, no, sir? We're not really looking at that. Based upon this exercise, family history is heart attack or sudden death
so
for the immediate family.
Yes, sir. I missed. So there are 2 risk factors.
Yeah.
So it comes under moderate risk.
Moderate risk and 2 factors, right?
2
Thank
factors.
you so much. So thank you so much. Wherein your BMI is 1 and your heart rate is 1. So guys, please remember this table. You will have it available. Pick this up. And you need to have an idea of what numbers in this table is what risk factor, especially if you are looking at writing A's. I'm pretty sure you will definitely maybe have a question on this, right? So remember the risk stratification over there. Here's a quick explanation of what Vaibhav sir just said. I put it down over there because in case that, if he was not here online, then this would be here. So remember that based on the obesity, the BMI value and the hypertension, these are the 2 risk factors. And no matter how many of these risk factors are there, it is always moderate risk. You move to high risk only if there is a symptom. That is, if the person has had a heart attack or if the person is exhibiting completely diabetes, etc., then if there is a symptom, it is a high risk. But even if you have all the risk factors as positive, it will still stay a moderate risk. Am I right, sir?
Yes. Any pre-existing disease, whether it is a heart disease or metabolic disease, if it is a pre-existing disease, it is known as high risk. Or if they are showing any signs and symptoms like chest pain or any breathlessness.
Sure.
So if any signs and symptoms, then also falls into high risk.
Okay. So maths, I kept the best for the last. Okay. Let's see if you can give me a formula for this. Very super fast, give me a formula for this. How do you calculate fat weight, lean body weight, body fat percentage? Anyone? Formula? How do you calculate? Let us say a person is 150 pounds and with 20% body fat. What's a person's fat weight? Let's go with one question first. 150 pounds, you can stay on pounds, and has 20% body fat. What is the fat weight in pounds? You can give it in pounds. Or start telling me how to calculate it. We'll do two problems if you want.
20% of 150.
Yeah, 20% of 130.
150.
20% of 150 is 30 pounds, right?
30
Okay,
pounds.
awesome. So the Jahangir reply, 30 pounds. Okay, what's the lean body weight? Obviously.
The 80% left.
So the 30 pounds is fat weight and the lean body weight is 120
80%.
pounds. Okay, 120 pounds. Yes, and what's the body
Yes.
fat percentage? Okay, that's the body fat percentage. Sorry. Okay, so here's a quick formula, right? You do body weight into body fat percentage is your fat weight. Your body weight minus your fat weight is your lean body weight. And remember, if you always want to calculate that, you know what, he wants to come down to only 100 pounds, right? What should be his new body fat percentage? Then you have to pick up the lean body weight and then keep that as a constant and then calculate accordingly. Okay, so I'll send this particular sheet with a summary of some of these formulae over to Chari sir, and then he can just pick it up. But I thought I'll just share this quick insight of this particular, format. How do you calculate a desired body weight? Can somebody just try this out? It's a 200 pounds individual that has 30% body fat, and the person wants to get to 25% body fat, right? How will you calculate this? Can you start trying to tell me? What should be the desired body weight? Vaibhav sir, you can pick up these and talk too if you would like to, or about how important mathematics is and how important the formulae are, if you want to just share.
So, hello.
Yeah, sure.
So I just missed in between.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah.
So calculating desired body weight, we were just looking at. Sorry, sir. Go ahead. Vaibhav sir, you're there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there.
Okay, okay, sure. Okay, anyone, desired body weight, right? And the person is 200 pounds. Somebody, are you talking to the session or you're chatting with somebody else behind?
No, I'm questioning you, ma'am. Actually, ये lean body fat के लिए कुछ बोल रहे थे, क्या है वो question?
वो पहला वाला जो ना अभी आपको स्लाइड पे दिख रहा है ना, लेफ्ट साइड में एक फॉर्मूला, वो वाला क्वेश्चन हाँ अलग था, तो ये वाला क्वेश्चन अलग है
मैडम। स्क्रीन भी नहीं दिख रहा वो यहाँ पे।
ओके, स्क्रीन पे क्या दिख रहा है?
कुछ भी नहीं दिख रहा है, खाली आवाज सुन रही है, मेरे को आवाज आ रही है।
अच्छा, स्क्रीन पे नहीं दिख रहा है क्या? ठीक है, तो बाकी लोगों को दिख रहा है क्या? आर यू गाइस एबल टू सी द स्क्रीन?
लीन बॉडी कुछ बोले थे।
यस मैम, यस मैम।
ठीक है, ठीक है, तो आपका तो नहीं दिख रहा है, कोई बात नहीं, मैं आपको भेज दूंगी बाद में, आपको दिख जाएगा। ठीक है, तो आपको कैलकुलेशन का दिख जाएगा प्रॉब्लम का। अभी आप दूसरा वाला देख लीजिए जो मैं अभी पूछ रही हूँ। 200 पाउंड्स है, इंडिविजुअल का वेट 200 पाउंड्स है, बॉडी फैट परसेंटेज 30% है। ठीक है, अभी उनको 25% बॉडी फैट होना है, तो वेट कितना होना है, कितने वेट को आना है?
मैम फिर से क्वेश्चन पूछो मैम, फास्ट फास्ट चल जा रहा है यहाँ पे, कुछ भी नहीं सुना जा रहा, कुछ भी नहीं दिखा दे रहा है यहाँ पे।
200 pounds weight, okay, right? अभी मैं चैट पे भी कर रही हूँ। 30%, answer this one question, will close for today. 30% body fat percentage, right? Okay. Now, person wants to come to 25% body fat percentage. What should be the weight? This is my question. इसको आंसर करेंगे, we will pause for today. इंसान का वेट 200 पाउंड्स है, मैंने चैट पे भी डाला है अभी। इंसान का वेट 200 पाउंड्स है, उसका बॉडी फैट परसेंटेज
निकाल देना क्या फैट डिस्प्ले पे 200
कितना निकालना है? गिव मी एन आंसर समबडी। कैसे करोगे आप? Okay, hello, you can still hear me?
ट्रेनिंग पे।
Can you still hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
अभी सुन रहा मैडम।
So
Yes,
अभी
ma'am, now I will.
yeah. So what do you do is आपको 200 पाउंड्स में से आप बॉडी फैट परसेंटेज में से फैट वेट कैलकुलेट करोगे, which is 30% of 200 पाउंड्स, right? तो आप बॉडी फैट करके देन यू विल कैलकुलेट लीन बॉडी वेट फर्स्ट. ओके, तो आप नीचे देखोगे तो 70% लीन बॉडी वेट है. 70% of lean body weight मतलब 200 pounds into 70%, which is 140 pounds lean body weight है. अभी lean body weight को constant रखना पड़ेगा. तो lean body weight का जो 140 pounds है उसको 75% होना है, because body fat 25% चाहिए. 75% अगर lean body weight होना है तो actual weight जो है it becomes 187 pounds. So when you have to calculate this, आपको fat percentage से directly calculate नहीं करना है, आपको लीन बॉडी वेट निकालना है और उसके हिसाब से आपको कैलकुलेट करना है. आई हैव अ फ्यू मोर फॉर्मूले.
एक एग्जांपल प्रॉब्लम है तो बताना मैम.
एक्चुअली स्क्रीन पे आ रहा है, स्क्रीन पे आ रहा है, मैं आपको ये भेज दूंगी. आपको स्क्रीन नहीं दिख रहा है, स्क्रीन पे एग्जांपल आ रहा है, बाकी लोगों को दिख रहा है. मैं ये भेज दूंगी ग्रुप में ताकि आपको दिख जाएगा. ठीक है? Okay, so we'll not continue the maths problems, but there are quite a few other mathematics problems. एक 5 या 6 formulae है that I would request for you guys to go through. मैं आपको एक JPG भेज दूंगी, that is a screenshot of the formulae, right? Something called Karvonen formula. There is a heart rate reserve formula. Then fat calories कैसे calculate करना है, protein calories. Anybody can tell me number of kilocalories per gram? कार्बोहाइड्रेट के कितने किलो कैलोरीज है पर ग्राम? 9 कार्बोहाइड्रेट के
4
फैट्स की 9.
फॉर प्रोटीन 4 फॉर कार्ब्स 4 फैट का 9
फैट का 9 और अल्कोहल का कितना है?
7.
अल्कोहल का 7 है. ठीक है. Okay, so these are some quick recap guys. मेरे पास I just wanted to take you guys through some quick recap थोड़ा बहुत ताकि आपका थोड़ा सा engagement हो जाए. And I wanted to experiment it by recording it like this, you know. So I hope that this was fun. Just give us a few thoughts, give us a little bit of feedback right now. थोड़ा बहुत बताओ आप कैसा था. You can just speak. Can somebody unmute and just speak very quickly. कैसा लगा आपको?
Yeah, it was a very good session, man.
Good.
Fine, ma'am.
Good, madam. Nice section.
This shows that we have totally lost the touch. I mean, forgotten everything.
Okay. Akash sir, Bible sir, thoughts?
Hello. Yeah, yes, ma'am. I mean, it's better if a student gives their feedback, so it helps us, all of us, to, conduct accordingly.
Yeah.
So whether the time duration.
Yeah. So some of the feedback is there. So we will look at those feedback. I think those things they can give to BFI directly. Logistical feedback. Let's just stay with the session for now, right?
Absolutely.
Because logistically, I think you can get back. I know this was a very much of an experiment. लेकिन अगर आपको revision भी अगर करवाना है online by with anybody, so this is how it will end up being, right? So this logistic feedback you can give back. किसी का data खत्म हो रहा है, किसी का video नहीं आएगा, ये सब आप दे देना ताकि शादी sir can pick it up. But I wanted to stay with the session content and tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit of feedback कि कैसा लगा आपको being back in the class. एक दूसरे को देख के अच्छा लगा, हमको देख के अच्छा लगा.
बहुत अच्छा लगा मैम.
Yeah, feel good.
Very good. The class was very good.
Okay, cool. ठीक है. Yeah. So I do a lot of corporate sessions, by the way. So Zoom, Google Hangouts, okay, WebEx, Microsoft Teams, Skype for Business. इधर की आदत है मुझे. So because I am familiar with it, मुझे पूछा गया था कि पहला सेशन आप लोगे, especially engagement, interaction कैसे होगा. So I decided ठीक है, I will take this forward with you guys so that दूसरे को थोड़ी सी आदत हो जाएगी, right? So anyone else, any other thoughts? And then before I pass it on to last में जाने से पहले, I want us to take a quick video. So what I want you all to do, number of लोग हम लोग ज़्यादा है. So we'll have to do it in 2 quick snapshots, but I would like you guys to, can you all switch on your videos for just 2 minutes so that we can take a quick, I'll take a quick screenshot. Just put your video on for 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes, ताकि मैं थोड़ा सा screenshot ले सकूं. मुझे शायद 2 screenshots लेने पड़ेंगे because I think एक में नहीं आएगा.
Screenshot दी तरह तैयार बन जाएगा बाबूला. Okay, you don't mute. Video on చేస్తారా? Start video on చేయండి. కింద start video ఉంది. Technology కదా. Start video everyone. Who's this Redmi phone? Minaj.
Translate.
Deepti. If you want, okay, మీ వీడియోలో వచ్చే అంత పరిస్థితిలో లేరంటే ఆన్ చేయకండి పర్వాలేదు. Okay, anyone else? Deepthi? Thank you. Okay, so I think I have to do 2 screenshots. Just hold on. So I will do, I've done, okay, everybody just pause. I'll say 1, 2, 3. We'll do 2 quick screenshots. So let's do it first time. You want to do a thumbs up? You can do a thumbs up, right? If you want. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Everybody do a thumbs up. 1, 2, 3, thumbs up. Okay, let me just save this and then we will take one more screenshot. It didn't come through. Okay, once again. Okay, just give me a minute. I'm sorry, it's taking a little bit of trouble. 1, 2, 3, thumbs up. Okay, thumbs up. Let's see if it'll allow now. Wait, 1 minute. नहीं आया यार, पता नहीं मेरा फोन तो नहीं आ रहा है. एक और ट्रायल करेंगे. लास्ट ट्रायल. 1, 2, 3, thumbs up. Okay, एक आया. Okay, I got 1 through. Now the thing is I need to get one more because I have some people on the other screen, right? So let's do this once again. वो screen पे है. Okay, once again. 1, 2, 3, thumbs up. Okay, so I got the snapshot. I'll send it across in the group for all of you, right? So before we close for the day, last few minutes, Akash sir, Vaibhav sir, please thoughts, and then Chari sir, if you can take over. Vaibhav sir.
Thank you everybody for coming on the online.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Faculty, Revati ma'am, Vaibhav sir, and Akash sir. And I think our BF5 proprietor owner, Dr. Rajiv Gopal, is also there on site.
Okay, thank you for joining, and all of your logistics, feedback, etc. pick it up. But hope that this was useful for you as a quick recording, and hope that, so I'm just muting everybody, right? Hope that this was useful for you as a quick recording, and hope that it helped you for a quick of revision. Thank you so much, Vaibhav and Akash sir, for joining today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Because without you, it wouldn't have been this interactive and engaging. And thanks to all of you for participating. आप लोग क्लास की तरह जब चुपचाप बैठे होते ना तो पूरा बोरिंग हो जाता, right? I would have been going on and on and on और कुछ नहीं होता. Thank you for participating and hope it helped trigger up some memory of yours. All the best and take care, right? Stay home, stay safe. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
So you guys can log off. Akash sir,
Thank you,
Vaibhav
ma'am. Thank you,
sir,
sir.
and